won't set me back again. Oh, not sleep awake. I won't let the future escape. Oh, not sleep awake. I won't let the future escape. Heads down, they will watch us shake the ground. Oh, it's like this, it will fill the air around. Oh, not sleep awake. I won't let the future escape. Oh, not sleep awake. I won't let the future escape.
We always talk about FIFA Esports being dramatic, and yesterday we treated you, yes we did, to an absolute goal rush on the first day of the FIFAe World Cup. 217 goals found the back of the net, with the most coming from Group C. They scored 69, which meant the average number per match equaled 3.6. I know you love a stat, that's why I thought I'd open the show with all those numbers for you just to crunch here on day 2 of the FIFAe World Cup. No cagey affairs here, but who knows what day 2 will bring? We are about to find out, of course. Well, welcome then once again to the studio here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where we are almost set to go on day 2 of the FIFAe World Cup. This is the big one, 1v1 FIFA at its finest. We saw fireworks yesterday. Expect more of that drama here today, as well as I introduced to you our couch here on day 2. We have a special guest as well joining the studio. We have our usual suspects as well, Alex B, Aggie, Mike Labelle and Mar, as well as joining us from Corrugate Esports, the local side here. Mar, obviously I'm going to come and start with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And actually I'm going to tell everyone at home, Mar actually was very kind and treated a few of us to a bit of a trip as well around Saudi a couple of days ago. So we really got to experience the proper local cuisine, and we got to learn a little bit about the history as well of this great city. So thank you very much for that. But we're going to talk to you, Mar, about FIFA Esports and Saudi. I mean, first up, how special is it to have these 3 World Cups here in your local city?
Yeah, firstly, I just want to thank you guys for having me, and it's a good thing to show you around, show you Saudi, the culture, just to get a view of it. And regarding your question, I think it's amazing and a big step to have a big tournament as this in Saudi Arabia, of course. As you can see, everyone is loving it, the fans are happy for it, and yeah, I think everyone is enjoying their time here. So we're just happy to have you guys here.
I mean, talking of the fans, they're out in force again behind Mar, actually. Where did they find their love for FIFA Esports? They absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, most of the people here love FIFA, and it's finally their time to show it that they're actually loving it. I mean, you can see yesterday they couldn't be silenced, just giving a lot of noises to their favorite players, Andres, Abu Makkah. So I think it's just a good opportunity to show this kind of fans that they really love the game.
They really love the game here, so you'll be able to hear them before you see them, FYI. Mike, actually, you came, didn't you, on Mars' little trip? Mike,
I was invited. I appreciate that invitation.
And Mike very much got into the local spirit, didn't you? Tell me about the outfit you wore on that trip.
I enjoyed it. I think it was fitting for everything. I appreciate you. You brought everything for us.
Yeah, no worries.
And we went traditional, and we got to see a lot of the city, and then the dinner was fantastic as well. I hope that we get another one of those in. Not just because you're here, but if we set it up, I'd like to do it after one of the broadcasts. A little late night action.
Well, that's what we get up to when FIFA Esports isn't taking place in the arena. We like to, of course, see the city in its glory. I want to come to the boys over here as well. Let's talk about yesterday. I gave you a few stats and facts there. Alex, can you remember who scored the most goals? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
I can't, off the top of my head.
Give a guess, come on. Top
From
of the...
Group A, Group B, C or D? Which one is
Well,
it?
give me that, then you know.
Give me. I want in on this too.
You
Then.
want
I'll
in
go
on
with
that.
them.
Go on.
So she said that Group C. I heard this at the beginning
Don't
of the show.
give
was
us
the
it, don't
highest
show us
scoring.
yet. He's going to give us
All
it.
right, I'm just looking at Group C. Remember, RVP Legend came out firing. So he didn't close out the day well, but that's who I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Group C, RVP Legend as an underdog choice. I don't know if that's right or wrong or what camera I'm looking at, but that's what I'm going with.
If I had the ability to push the buzzer which said, I'd say no.
Well, I bailed you out.
It was Johnny with 15.
Oh.
Aggie, Alex, again, you can confer with this one. Who was the best defender yesterday? Who conceded the least amount of goals?
I'm going to go with Tex, I think.
Are you agreeing with that?
I'm going to go with Anders.
Tex was correct. 4 goals only he let in 5 games there, which was pretty special. But Johnny, the amount that he scored, 15, was pretty special. But talking of Tex, I mean, he's previously struggled, hasn't he, here at the FIFAe World Cup, but he looks like he's on a comeback this year, and Spencer caught up with the man behind the player a little bit earlier on today.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes, I am here with Zach Moore, coach of Tex. Tex had a fantastic day yesterday, top of the group. Is this the year we're finally going to see him win the FIFAe World Cup?
I hope so. In the past, he's had a group stage curse, so one step at a time, let's go through the group, and then I'm confident in best of twos, he'll step up his level, because I think yesterday we had 11 points. I still think there's a couple of gears to go up. I don't actually think he played near his best, which is a good sign. So, and he's always struggled with best of one, so hopefully today we stay unbeaten, go to the knockouts, and then we're going to have a very, very tough game in the last 16, match of the group to death.
Yeah, you can see him just chilling out behind us there. He's gone for walkabouts, actually. What does he have to do to go that little bit further than he's gone before? I mean, obviously you must have played a part in it. How have you got rid of this group stage curse, as you call it?
I would say, like, just making him known. I mean, like, I watch so many games of, like, all the top level players where he might not have time, he has content, he'll be playing, so it's like showing him, oh, Emery does this, corners, like, it's like the cheap goals. Like, he's been so good fundamentally for so long, but he hasn't scored the cheap goals or an easy goal where he hasn't had the glitches in his locker, so he's always had to play like an 8 or 9 out of 10 to win a game. So I feel like we're winning games playing out of 6 out of 10, so it's like just trying to, well, have more variety in this game.
Sign of a potential champion, of course. A huge role in this year's FIFAe World Cup is the role of a coach. Last year, you were here with Stingray, got to the round of 16, looking to go one further this time. We spoke to Stingray yesterday. He seemed quite upset that you were no longer with him. Can you talk to us about that transfer from Stingray to Tex that you did?
Well, I was only with Stingray this year for E-Champions League because I was coaching the staff. But it's kind of like, Sting did want me for playoffs, but at the time when Tex asked me, after me coaching him in England, Sting didn't look like he was going to make playoffs, so it's like kind of said, I'm never going to turn down Tex, but who knows what I mean, and obviously with Tex, like, it's a big motivation for him to be world champ, or my dreams to be world champion, and I think he gives me the best chance, and I love his attitude, I think. And it's another added bonus, like, one would go down as the greatest of all time, so winning the World Cup will get him to that top level.
It's not just players that want to win the World Cup, coaches do as well, and it could be Zach's year along with Tex this time. Back to you, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Well, I wanted to bring Alex in on that conversation, actually, from a coaching perspective. Is it difficult to be loyal, Alex, when Stingray was with Zach last year and then Tex comes and says, actually, I want you on my team?
It can be to an extent, especially what we saw last year with Stingray, Zach, and the Club World Cup as well. They went through and became runners up there. But I think one thing that Zach mentioned is that he was looking at Stingray. Stingray was lower on the rankings, maybe didn't expect him to go through all the way to get to this stage. And when Tex comes knocking on the door, work with him with E-lines, he can't really say no to Tex. And I think when you look back on Tex's time where he maybe was most dominant, he had Enzo as his coach, Zach can repeat that and do that again.
We were looking, weren't we, at statistics coming into this as well. 126th ranked in the world was Stingray heading into this. That ranking doesn't really do him justice. Obviously, he came through, didn't he, after winning that French league. Can you look into that as a coach, really, at the World Cup, even if he does qualify?
I mean, he's definitely ranked higher. He also did pretty good last year, and he qualified for multiple events. So he's a top player, Stingray. Obviously, doesn't have the achievement Tex does or have, but not many players do have that. So I understand that from a kind of ambitious angle, but also feel like there are some sort of, when you commit as a coach to a player, I feel like you gotta stay a bit loyal as well, like showing like I trust you, even in the worser times. So, I mean, that's an interesting thing.
Did you ever have any battles with coaches or coaches trying to go elsewhere in the career and you're like, please come and still help me in my career?
No, I think sometimes we maybe shared coach back then. It wasn't as big of a thing as it is now, and obviously it's much more professional now. So no, I never had that issue, but I can get to see now why things are mixing up a little bit.
Well, talking of Stingray, I believe Sven is down there with the man of the moment. How's he feeling, Sven?
Yes, I'm here with coachless Stingray, but it's not going too bad for you this year without a coach. Much better than this time last year. You're sitting joint second in the group on 8 points. Tuga's one ahead, but you play him game number 2. You beat him yesterday as well, so you could easily win this group, couldn't you?
I mean, definitely, yeah. The game against Tuga yesterday, I mean, I beat him 4-1, one of the best defenders in the world, so clearly I'm attacking pretty well.
So definitely looking like you're going to hopefully make it out of the group in a little bit more comfortable style than last year. You had an amazing day too last year. One thing I want to ask you about is your proximity to the Saudi fans here, because even before the games started, they're getting loud and you can really hear it here, can't you?
I mean, yeah, you can definitely. I was playing Berkeline yesterday and my whole stage was wobbling, the monitor was wobbling. The Saudi crowd was just amazing.
But you like it though, it doesn't affect you negatively?
No, I mean, I love it. I think everyone loves to play in front of a crowd.
Yeah, I think so. It adds a lot of atmosphere, doesn't it? Let's talk about your rankings, Stingray, because you're ranked 126th in Europe right now. Everyone here knows you're better than that. I mean, you won E-Liga with Lorient, of course. That's a massive win. We've seen what you can do here at LAN events. What's the discrepancy there? Why are we seeing you so low down?
I mean, I'd love to make excuses, but there's none that you can really make. Online, I just didn't perform as well as I do at LAN. You know, there's other things. You know, playing online, I'm just not as comfortable as playing at LAN, but I mean, I'm here now, 24 made it. That's 102 spaces higher than what I am. There's a lot of people saying, oh, they're above me in the ranking, they deserve more than me, but who's him, who's not?
The proof's in the pudding, and if you can be good at one thing, it's at LAN, because that's where the money is won and the trophies are lifted, and we could well see this man do that. Good luck today, Stingray. Right, we're going to go up the stairs here. Atmosphere kicking off already. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but I definitely can. I want to talk to the most laid-back man in FIFA Esports, Mike J, who's got a little bit of work to do ahead of him today, Mike. 3 points currently. Realistically, what do you need to do to get out of this group?
I don't know. I think 3 wins and a draw will be enough. It just depends who I win against and how the group shapes up. But look, as always, aiming to win all 5. That'll be the best case scenario. That'll definitely get me through, so that's the plan.
Based on the way the games went yesterday, do you think that's achievable? Because you did have quite a few draws in there. You've only got to find one extra goal to turn that into a win.
No, I played well yesterday. Honestly, a couple of things, I'm not going to say I got unlucky yesterday because, everyone's always going to say they got unlucky playing FIFA. But, if a couple small little margins might have gone my way or a bit more clinical, maybe a green time shot here or there, maybe I would have won a game or two. So just tweak a couple small things and just do the same thing as yesterday. I think I'll be okay.
How are you feeling about this crowd? Because you're also very close to it. We saw you sort of playing up to it a little bit yesterday. You enjoying it?
Oh, they're brilliant, to be fair. They're very loud, very energetic. So it's something a little bit different. I've never really played FIFA in front of a crowd, so it's a cool experience.
Right, last question. You've been quite outspoken in the fact that this could be your final tournament in FIFA. And if you don't pick up the next few wins, it could be your final day of FIFA ever today. Will we see any emotion come out of you as you near the end of, shall I say, retirement?
Might see some happy emotions. I'll be done playing. I'll be quite chuffed with that. But no, there'll be no tears, definitely, if that's what you're asking.
Well, let's see if you can up your prize money, get out the group and give us one more day of Mike J at least. Good luck to you, sir. I don't want to see him retire. I think he's a breath of fresh air. I quite enjoy it. But he's got a lot of work ahead of him if he's going to make it out of this group, sitting on 3 points currently, Rachel.
And he's such a character as well. I'd hate to see this the last game that he plays at a World Cup. But if it is the time to hang up that controller, then, you know, it's great, isn't it, to go out on top. The best 24 players in the world are here, of course. And I wanted to bring Mike in with that. Mike, do you know when it's time to hang up? Have you already decided in your head and that can't be swayed regardless of the result? Did you know when your time was kind of done?
I think for me it was a little bittersweet in some ways. I probably played maybe an extra year that I didn't need, just in terms of doing too much amongst content and obviously hosting and doing some presenting at events. And I think in a perfect world, we'd love to win and be like, that's it, I'm done, I'm dusted. But to a certain degree, when you're on top of it, you don't want to walk away. It's kind of like your favorite sitcom. They usually add an extra season or two, and those extra last couple seasons aren't as good as where the show started.
Was it hard for you to say you were going to retire as well, Aggie?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mike is describing it perfectly. And when you don't have that passion, you're not going to win. I mean, I'm pretty confident that Mike will go out today because, as he says, he doesn't really have he doesn't have that will that you need to win. And when you don't have that feeling, when you don't have that passion, you know it's over. And that was where I knew that, all right, I have to quit.
I thought you were talking about me. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm definitely going out, for sure.
I'm talking about someone who has the passion, surely in abundance being here, is Abu Makkah. He's got all the fans behind him, Mar. He's got all the support he could ever want. He's pretty much got the support of the 12th man, we're calling it, in here. I mean, how do you think he's going to get on as the competition progresses? Second so far. Have you been impressed with what you've seen of him?
I mean, Abu Makkah is doing so great so far. I mean, finishing on the second on this group, it's definitely a good thing. And he's actually representing his home country. I mean, all these fans from all nationality from the Middle East are coming to cheer him up, giving him all the cheers that he needs. And I think that's a good motivation, and that's one of the big reasons why he's doing a good job so far. And I think he's going to go far, yeah.
Do you know him personally? Does he like the pressure, or does he try and shy away from it a little
He's actually a very cold guy, so I think he can handle the pressure. I mean, so far he's proven a lot. He won the Saudi League professionally, and he did so well with the E-Club and Nations, so I think he got what it takes.
Obviously he's ranked as well as the second in the Middle East coming here. MS Dossary is still #1. Do you feel if he has a good tournament, Abu Makkah this time out, he can maybe overhaul MS Dossary as one of the best, the greatest in Saudi?
I mean, personally wise, I think if you're going to top MS Dossary, you have to win a World Cup. Other than that, it's just a good effort.
Is he capable this year of winning a World Cup?
I mean, yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Strong statement there.
I mean, I'd expect that from Mar. I actually have another question, too. You're going to hear a lot of it today. I'm going to hear a lot of it. All of us here. What are they saying? What's going on? There's so many different chants. They have chants for different players as well. It's not just about Abu Makkah. They even have chants for Anders, like you mentioned. I heard them going at it with Tuga in a positive way.
You sat in there as well, Mike, the other day.
I did. Myself and Rich, we went up there, and I was getting involved, but I don't know exactly what's happening, but there's a lot of positive energy.
Yeah, I think they're giving him, for example, in Arabic, they say like, hey, go get that win. We're with you. Just go for it. And just for Tuga and Andres, I think just making English music or noises so they can understand, just cheering him up, giving him the motivation that they need, and showing some love.
Well, the chants are definitely giving us energy here in the studio. As you can see, the matches have begun. I'm sorry to say we had a couple of technical issues there, but it looks like we have resolved some. So we're going to hand over to Brandon Smith and Richard Buckley, who are going to talk about a couple of the matches that we are seeing here today on day one.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Yes, back again for the group stages here at the FIFAe World Cup. Group A, Group B is underway. A couple of games at a small technical fault, as we just pointed out there. But Di Fernandez against Mark will be our first game we'll just dip into here. Two players with a very different group stage day. Two players fighting for that top four. Mark currently in third on 6 points. Di Fernandez on 5 points. Only a point between those two. As we said, 5 matches to be played, Rich. There's so much still to unfold.
Yeah, there certainly is. I mean, when you look at these groups starting to take shape, Group A, 4 points from top to bottom. Group B, Texas sort of leading the line. However, there's still so many critical and crucial games and points up for grabs throughout the rest of this afternoon session.
Let's have a jump around then if we can. Tex against Mike J. Let's head over to that one. Big day for Mike J. The Aussie could be his last career match tournament. Could be the end of his FIFA career. However, he said if he does go out and it does end here, he'll be pretty happy and stress-free. Mike J did draw this game yesterday against Tex. It was a 1-1 scoreline, scored quite late into the tie. He only picked up 3 points from 15. Did the Melbourne City FIFA Pro of Australia. Surprising enough, both Australian players are in this same group. What does he have to do today, Alex, if he is to try and find a way through the group stages other than just win?
We'll be catching up with Alex B very shortly indeed, get his thoughts on this critical matchup for Mike J. I'll answer the question for you. Just got to play with no fear. It's his last tournament. When I was speaking to him, even if he wins the World Cup, he's done. So go out on a high, go out proud of yourself, and leave it all on the table.
Well, for Tex, this is his third FIFAe World Cup. He didn't make out the group stages FIFA 19 or last year in Copenhagen. I mean, with his run that he had yesterday and expecting to pull through 11 points from 50 was a convincing day. There's only 2 players that are unbeaten here at the FIFAe World Cup. Still, one is Tex and one is Anders Vergang. They're both in opposite groups. However, they will match up potentially later into the bracket. I don't think they'll be matching up in the round of 16 with the current placements as it stands. Nil-nil here. There has been a goal in one of our games, the all-Portuguese matchup. Darkly 11 in his first FIFAe World Cup against Tuga, who had a very slow start to proceedings yesterday. Took him 3 rounds to get going, but when he got to round 3, he couldn't stop scoring. It could be the same situation here, though, for him. Richard does trail a goal to nil 20 minutes into the tie, Darkly breaking through.
And Darkly just loves playing against Tuga, it seems.
It's a really good drive as well from Pele, just to look for that finesse on the edge of the box. If you get given that time and room, Tuga, who's normally disciplined in that defensive area, to say, no, I'm not going to allow you to have any long-range shots, put that pressure on either way. But Darkly starting strong. Tuga looking to bounce back.
What a save.
I was just doing a bit of research before we went live today. Tuga has never not made out the group stages. That's his third FIFAe World Cup. And it looks like he will be continuing that fine run of form as he equalises the tie at 1-1 here. The Atletico Riders man has had a difficult couple of weeks, both in club and national 2v2 FIFA competitions.
Whipped in, Virgil van Dijk, green-timed header. It's all about the delivery on the button, it has to be said. And it could be in again here, Tuga.
Chance for Tuga to make it 2-1 all the time in the world. Nothing too fancy about that one. Just went to the right and found the smallest of areas to slide that past the goalkeeper.
The heel to ball roll there, just taking the angle away from the goalkeeper. It's so easy to just dance past them when you input that skill move, giving yourself that simple goal. To add on top of that as well, Richard, Zach Moore, Tex's coach, was talking about Tex hasn't really had the ability to get goals, cheap goals they call them, goals from corners, set pieces, almost out of nothing. That is something that Tuga has been completely opposite of. He is more than capable of finding goals from crosses, corners, set pieces, you name it, and that's what he did to get back into this game.
Let's have a look over to a matchup taking place between D. Fernandez and Mark 11. We've seen one Aussie in action already. That was Mike J against Tex, the other man from down under, up against a fellow Portuguese. 3 Portuguese players all in the same group. 2 Aussies and an Englishman. I'm not starting a joke. I just think for Mark 11, you're probably looking at this group, you're thinking 2 wins, 6 points. You're looking nice.
Fernandez comes in, wins a corner, or not, puts the goal kick in the end. Looked to be a corner. Half-time results coming in. Mike J 0, Tex 0. This game also looks to be a 0-0 stalemate at the halfway point as Mark 11 will play for his last chance of the game. He's had a promising last 3 weeks with 2 knockout bracket runs in the E-Club and E-Nations before signing for FIFAe for this tournament. Let's jump back to Group A for a split second. 2 players playing in their first ever FIFAe World Cup. It was Berke Lyon who had his first shot on target. This is live, you're watching this game now. For Lex though, Alex, keen to get your thoughts on it. A really poor day for him yesterday. Scored 4 goals across his 5 matches. Has to be creating a lot more.
He does need to be creating a lot more. He's the player which I actually had down to top that group. I thought Lex was going to put in a fantastic performance, but not scoring enough goals, not creating the opportunities, and in doing so, picking up losses along the way. It's all about this first or second game. If he wants to make it out of this group and get through to the knockouts, he's got to start strong, start on that front foot, get yourself 3 points.
Well, if you look at the run he had yesterday, he drew his first game, won his second game, lost round 3 and 4 before closing out the day with another draw. That's 5 points he picked up from 15.
It's where it comes that case of saying we got 5 points on day 1. You can't really replicate that. Maybe going into day 2, yeah, 10 points in some cases can be enough for you to advance through into that knockout stage, but he'll just want to find 1 extra victory if he can, and that would really put him into the driving seat.
The other side, Berke Lyon, 18 years of age, first FIFAe World Cup, and a very decent virtual Bundesliga run this year. He was the runner-up to Antonio Radeja of FC Frankfurt. He obviously representing FC St. Pauli. Came into the playoffs with no fear. Qualified versus the Colombian Brechek, 6 goals to 1. It was a confident victory in London.
Straight through the winners bracket as well. Didn't have to go down, just won his games and sort of what he said there, because he is young, because it is his first World Cup, he's playing with no real fear about this tournament. I think one thing when we spoke to Tex, he has those negative experiences and connotations when you talk about the World Cup because of being grouped on 2 separate occasions.
I want to get your thoughts, Richard. You mentioned there about young and first World Cup, and there's so many competitors here that are playing at the first ever World Cup. The age last year, the average age of players that were competing in this tournament was 22. This year, 20. Are we moving into a stage where we're going to get younger and younger and younger with these talents coming through?
Well, you would imagine so, simply given the fact that the entry to compete is 16, but you've got people like Anders, you've got people who, like Levy, playing in other cups, playing in other tournaments at 14, 15, and beating everybody. So as soon as you're eligible to play, it's not like when maybe Mike or Aga were playing, you would maybe not have that much experience playing against the top level players until you got eligible to play. Because of division rivals, because of the online cups that are constantly running, you could have already played against Standards, you could have already played against Tex and Stokes, everybody. There's no real fear about who you're playing against for the simple fact that you've had a year, 2 years of playing division rivals, of playing in numerous different tournaments, and already getting used to it.
Well, here's a stat for you. 12 players in this tournament. It's their first ever FIFAe World Cup, which goes to show, back to your point, the new wave of FIFA talent that's coming through. Let's jump over to Tex against Mike J. If you are a Tex fan, you'll be happy with his performance yesterday, but more importantly, his start to proceedings today here in his opener. He has broken the deadlock in the second half, and this was the goal that he did score. Ronaldinho find that one more pass back inside, but just getting down that danger area, Alex, where you can cause all sorts of problems.
It's one of the things that Tex excels at exceptionally well in that byline sort of area. He can keep the ball so tight with that tight dribbling. He's got pretty much every skill move nailed down to a T. So for Mike J in that area, you allowed him to get in. It can be so difficult to try and stop in that tracks because you're trying to cover the passes. You can't leave Ronaldinho free. It's just something that Tex, once he's in there, will look to punish you time and time again.
And if results go against Mike J here, not only in this singular game, but in the other couple of matches, Avi Makkah and YUVAL, Di Fernandez, Mark 11, he could find himself in a real tricky situation, sort of deserted at the bottom of the table.
If you remember how this game played out yesterday, Richard, it was 1-0 to Tex until late onto the time. Mike J did snatch an all-important equaliser. There has been a goal in the Di Fernandez Mark 11 game. This attack does come in for Tech, so I'm sure we'll leave it.
Oh, he gave him the space.
Win. That from Mike J. Here's the goal that we missed. Di Fernandez leads Diogo Jota's Esports organisation. The Portuguese FIFA Pro, one of 3 players that have made it to an E-World Cup from Portugal this year. That's the goal that he scored to lead. We jump over to Darkley against Tuga. And it's Tuga that's found a third. He's found his feet in day 2. He lost his tie yesterday. He looks to be a very different player this time round.
Very different indeed, and lovely footwork and the ability to just take it past that player, drive into that space and look for that cutback, giving yourself the easiest chance as you like. But the prep work there from Tuga, showcasing how, yes, he's got multiple ways to attack in his arsenal and putting himself on that front foot.
And what's dangerous for the rest of the competition, Tuga's scoring goals. Tuga's looking to get back to his form that has led him to the many debates as one of the best players of this sort of modern day FGS era. He's a serial qualifier. He always goes far in tournaments. He always seems to be good value for money. And over the last couple of weeks, we've not seen that from him. Now he just seems to have turned the page here.
When talking about Tuga as well, after 2 games yesterday, we were all sat here looking at one another and saying, surely it's not going to happen again. Grouped at the Club World Cup, grouped at the E-Nations. As Brandon mentioned, he has made it out of the group stage in the 2 1v1 World Cups that he has made so far. 3rd time, will he do it? And he's looking as if so. We have to give credit for him to just grind out, get those 3 wins yesterday and putting himself onto a position where really he will secure himself at least a top 4 finish. As we jump over to Montaxa versus Stingray, which is currently in that first half.
Yeah, 2 players that had very different days yesterday. Montaxa rock bottom of this group as it stands. Stingray in his 2nd E-World Cup in back-to-back years, looking to go further than the round of 16. Let's leave this game, if we can, and jump over to an equaliser that we saw between Di Fernandez and Mark 11. You say equaliser, you know which way the goal's gone. It's gone towards Footwiz's newest Oceania signing, the Australian Mark 11. Had an unbelievable year. And this is the goal that he scored to pull himself back into the tie. That one is 1-1 into the pause. We'll go. Let's jump around somewhere else. YUVAL Belly against Abu Makkah. I mean, I'm keen to get your opinions on this one, gents, because YUVAL is the #1 ranked player in Europe. He's 4th as it stands right now, 6 points from 15. I feel like he's got a new gear to show us today to back up what we've seen online.
I think he has. I think everybody in this arena, if you would ask, who's one player that you should fear, from what we've seen online, it's YUVAL. YUVAL was the name that was getting bounced around between the players, coaches, staff, everybody here. But he just hasn't delivered on that so far.
Well, this will get the home crowd on their feet, because Abu Makkah's looking for his first goal here in day 2 of the group stages. Unfortunately, runs into the defensive brick wall of YUVAL Belly.
I don't want to be that guy, but maybe there's a conversation that's going to start floating around if YUVAL does get grouped here. It was a disappointing performance last week with Israel. Maybe he's just a very good online player. It was a great performance from him at the playoffs, it has to be said. He beat Dossere in a penalty shootout. A real sort of top-class performance. However, when you compare the status that he has when he's been playing online, he's won a qualifier this year. He's #1 in the European region, arguably the most competitive region that we play. You would expect him to be making quarterfinals, making semi-finals. It just the performance level just isn't equaling what we've seen from him.
And to paint the picture for people at home who might be sat there going, well, what does it matter whether we're playing online or whether we come to a LAN event? What's the difference? Everyone sits there at home in their own comfort. You have the monitor the way that you want, you can sit the way that you want. Everything is just the way that you like, your comfort. When you come to a LAN event, it's very different. The lights are on, the cameras are on. Commentators are talking, everybody's got that noise around them. You have a crowd here that's probably the loudest crowd we've ever had at a FIFA event. It's very different.
And also, I mean, connection plays a massive factor as well. Like, we're playing all over the European region. It has to be raised. And he plays much better in that environment, but he's still the person behind the sticks playing FIFA 23. So we know he's got that level. We know he has that ceiling to reach.
And it's about that up as well. I actually believe that YUVAL was travelling over to Milan to play all of his games with Team Makers, the Italian esports organisation he has signed for. Let's jump over to this one now. This is live, added time. It's going to be a 0-0. It's not great for either of the 2-point shed. The way this game was also a draw yesterday at 2-2. We've not had the 4 goals. Stingray has had a breakthrough in his game against Montaxa. It's not looking good in day 2 for the Italian, who's got 5 points from 18 as it stands right now. He needs a win. He ended his day with a big win, did Montaxa, up against Darkley, but unfortunately that's not to be the case over here. This is live shots from the game now, 56 minutes on the clock. Full-time result, Tuga beat Darkley 3-1. Tuga looks to be like he's on his way to a knockout stage again. 12 points on the board for him. Montaxa trying to find a way back through. Stingray defending well. He might be coachless, but doesn't seem to faze him as it stands right now. He'll win this game. He'll be on 11 points in this Group A.
You see exactly what Montaxa's trying to do in and around the box, that one-touch, quick passing, mixing in the driven passes, being a little bit more direct at times. However, Stingray, you've got to say, he's defended pretty well in this tournament thus far.
He conceded 5 goals.
Yeah, this be another clean sheet for him.
Up to this point, looks for another! Thank you very much! Stingray leads by 2-0.
We talk about Anders in that sort of area, looking for those step overs and being aggressive to drive into the 18-yard box. Stingray can deliver on that as well. Both of these 2 goals in this game against Montaxa come from no hesitation, looking to take the defender on. Soon as you get that angle, pull the trigger. Don't overcomplicate it. You've got Mbappe, you've got R9. Puts him 2-0 to the good, and what is going to be a fantastic group stage if he keeps us up. Over now to YUVAL versus Makkah. Breakthrough for both teams looking for that goal.
Well, one thing that we found out about YUVAL yesterday is that he might score a few goals, but he also leaks quite a few of them too. Yesterday, he won this game 3-0. And then went on a bit of a run, lost to Tex, and lost to the hands of Mark 11, 4-0. He's had a topsy-turvy group stage, to say the least. YUVAL looking for his first goal here. There's the step over into a finish. It's fortunate, but he won't care. YUVAL finally finding his group form again, Alex, here.
YUVAL taking a little bit of leaf out of Makkah yesterday. The shot cancels just to take on the defenders. Yes, got a little bit fortunate with that bounce back. He won't mind though, he won't care. He needs a vital win here against Makkah as we jump back over to Montaxa versus Stingray.
He's really struggled, Montaxa, to get, it looks to me just to get the pace of the game as well. Stingray is cooking right now.
Ooh. That first time layoff to find, I think it was Milinkovic-Savic at the top side of the box, just giving Montaxa no chance to get any sort of look in, any sort of foot in to try and get a deflection in there. And you have to say, Brandon, that's going to be game, set, match.
Well, for a player that conceded 7 goals all day long yesterday, Montaxa, he's nearly on to concede half of those goals in one game. After a good night's sleep and a good breakfast. It's not been the start he would have wanted for Montaxa. Do you know, Esports, it's his first FIFAe World Cup. It might be one that he'll want to forget. Stingray is on a different level as it stands now. Defending so well also. There's a technical difficulty, hits us in that one. We'll move across to another game that is currently live. 80 minutes on the clock in this one. Tex leads Mike J by a 0-0. Can we go out and say if he wins this game, he's through, done, 14 points on the board? Tex, you're through?
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
To not play with as much pressure on his shoulders in the group stage as compared to previous years. Maybe you could argue, if you look around this group, everyone else in the group's never been to an World Cup before. They've never felt this pressure. Corner, played short. Tex will happily take another. Or alternatively, take time out the game. Four minutes left. Game management now from Tex. It's not looking good for Mike Joe, though, Richard, is it? 3 points now from 18.
He has struggled. It's a shame because, I mean, when you look at the way he conducts himself, you're rooting for him. Like you almost think, yeah, you can be a fan favourite. What if he does go on and perform really well? Would he potentially think twice about hanging up the controller, shall we say? But it's a great achievement to make a FIFAe World Cup.
Especially when the spots have gone down this year. Only 24 players can get here. As this game concludes, let's jump over to the other game and conclude that one. Tex has won. He looks to be through the group stages, 14 points. Let's conclude this one, because this for Mike J is a more important game, because D. Fernandez will be on 6 points. Mark will be on 7. Mike J will only be 1 win away from a couple of those players. It looks like it's going to end as a draw at 1-1. Or one more chance, Mark 11. Can he find a way through? No, that will do us.
It keeps Mike J in the running.
He's only 1 win.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I say 1 win. It's a big ask in this group, don't get me wrong, for a player that hasn't won a game yet. But Mike J, it's all to do for him. There's a couple of games still to conclude, but while we're waiting, I'm going to pass it back over to the couch to break down what we've seen. It looks like Tex is going through to the knockouts.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for taking us through then the first round of matches here on day 2. And I'm just going to echo what the boys said there. It looks, couch guys, like Tex is going through another 3 points there to add to his tally of yesterday when he topped that table. Pretty much can kind of sit back and relax and maybe figure out a different play style here.
I think he's definitely going for that first place because he knows what awaits him in the last 16. He want to come in shape and in form. So I think he's definitely going for that first place. I don't think he's going to slow down. I think we'll just make him more confident now.
I mean, Mar, you got through, didn't you, with, if you can hear me, X-Raptors Twisted Minds last year to the 3rd day here of the knockouts. How difficult is it to navigate these groups, these one leg of round-robin fixtures?
I mean, these kind of groups, you never can expect anything. You know, anything could happen depending on the circumstances. So it's usually just having to put all the work. And I think with Tex, I didn't think he's going to slow down. He's definitely going to go for first place. And also, getting first place is sending message to other groups that, hey, I'm first place, watch out for me. I didn't take any losses, I'm winning, so yeah.
We're talking about who he possibly faces as well, someone from Group D, and we know how stacked Group D is. I mean, Mar, I'm just going to jump back to you because you've just joined the couch. What have you seen of Group D and the players that are in that group?
I mean, I think it's group of death, as they said.
Well, it's the big group of death.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of surprises happening there. So we still have no clue who's gonna, qualify to the next round, which is more exciting.
I think with Group D in particular, if you're Tex, you don't want to play Yilmaz, you don't want to play Anders. And I would say that they're the early favorites to be first and second in that group. You can pick the order, but they've already got themselves into double digits. So now you have 3 competing for 2 with PHN, Manu Bashor, and Nicholas. And I think if you're Tex again, you'd hate to go first in this group and then get Nicholas if he's able to work his way back in. I think he'd prefer the Manu Bashor or even the PHN matchup. I think it's just more of a healthy matchup. But the big takeaway here for Tex, he's going to get out of the groups. We should say that. We talk about all his ability and all his accomplishments and achievements, but he's never gotten out of the group. This will be the first. 14 points is enough.
Well, someone else then, who is getting out of the groups, Mike Clavel, is with Spen right now.
Yes, I am here with Tuga, who's just made it 4 wins in a row after 2 defeats to open yesterday. It's safe to say you found your rhythm.
Yeah, I think so. I'm starting playing well yesterday. Right now, in this game against Darkley, I played really good, and I hope to continue to play like this in the next game.
Sitting top of the group, there's one man just behind you, 1 point less. His name's Stingray. You play him next. How important is that game to top this group?
I think it's really important. Like if I win Stingray, I'll be 4 points. It will be a gap of 4 points, and probably with 3 games left, I just need to win 2 more games or one game and a draw to be top of the group, which will be like amazing to be top of the group of this game. And this group I think it has really potential, and being top of the group, it will be great.
What do you know about Stingray's play style? How do you feel that it differs from yours? And have you had many games against each other before?
Yes, he's really good offensive. To be honest, in the previous matchups, besides this one we played yesterday, I beat him all the time, but yesterday he beat me, so I want to get a little bit of revenge from yesterday because he beat me like 4-1. Although it was a tight game for me, he got the win. I think he deserved it as well because he played good, but right now it's my time, and hopefully to get a win against him.
We talked yesterday about the changes you made after the 2 defeats and how you're able to innovate and come up with new ideas. Is it very much that the play style you now have is the one you're going to go with for the rest of the tournament, or are you still innovating?
Right now, I'll just keep with my play style because, I mean, four wins in a row, playing like I'm playing. If I play not too good, but getting a win, I think that is all it matters. So if I'm playing bad and probably get a draw or a lose, so something has to be changed, because if you lose or draw, you need to adapt, you need to overcome the difficulties, and I'll do it so that I can be top of the group and hopefully get into the knockout stages.
Okay, best of luck in your next game. Stingray next. It's a big one. Tuga versus Stingray. You could argue the winner will win this group. Both players I expect to probably make it out of the group though. Rachel, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I mean, exactly though, isn't it, what Stingray was saying? He said, yeah, I'm ranked 126 in the world, but don't worry, I really managed to kind of play my best FIFA when I get here. And that was proof. Obviously, Tuga just said, I always beat Stingray when we're practicing. Stingray beat Tuga 4-1 yesterday. But we have a resurgent Tuga right now. He's sitting at the top with 12 points. Are you expecting, Aggie, this away fixture, as we call it, to go in Tuga's favour now?
I think it's very close between those two. I mean, history speaks for itself. I think Tuga won the majority of the games, and Stingray's been a bit like, at least on the social media, like it's a Tuga curse, which doesn't only go for him. I had that curse as well. I couldn't beat him no matter how many times I tried. So it's a really tight one, and I'm not sure which direction it's going.
Ma, did you have a Tuga curse as well? Have you ever played Tuga?
No, unfortunately I haven't, and I'm glad I haven't. But yeah, just to comment on that, I think Tuga might win it, because as a professional, when you get a second chance, you would see another plans, try to see any gaps, and I think I'll go with Tuga this time.
The Tuga of old is back, isn't he, Mike?
For sure, and maybe more importantly here is that, again, 12 points, I'd say he's getting out of Group A. And if there's been a critique across the couch, we talked to Brandon, we talked to Richard, we talked to Alex, it's always been kind of, he's not a good two-legged player, or he's not a good, single elimination player. He needs to be in these two-legged affairs. Well, now he's going to get himself into that two-legged format that you talked about, and we've already seen him as a world champion. Why not build on a little bit of that 1v1 action?
Well, he's got Stingray next. Spen just alluded to that, but Alex is standing by to break down some of Tuga's goals thus far.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at some of Tuga's goals that we've seen so far throughout this day two. Yesterday, he started off a little bit poorly, but then picking up 3 massive wins, and he's carried that into today. Let's jump into one of the goals which I wanted to bring to your attention. Now, it's no surprise that it starts off with Tuga saying, I want to look to send Milinkovic-Savic all the way into the box. That's originally what Tuga wanted to go for. Davis just has that time and space out on that wing to then look for that cross. You can see that Milinkovic-Savic is about to beat that defensive line. He goes for the cross, but unfortunately for Tuga, it doesn't go where he wanted it to. It ends up falling over to Henry. Bellingham then wins that header, and now this is where we're seeing something a little bit different from Tuga so far today, which is managing to excel past his opponents. And it's just saying, look, I've got that opportunity to maybe look to drive into that 18-yard box. Can I take that on? The lovely left stick dribbling to take out that defender, the step overs, and right now, if you look where Henry is actually facing, well, it's this way. He needs to get into a position to be able to look to play it across into that 18-yard box. And how does Tuga do that? He does that with the fake shot. Just square an X and then the ball roll to open up that angle, and then as easy as you like, looking for that pass off across. It works to a T, and Tuga looking to deliver on that as well. We mentioned time and time again how Tuga can get those goals from the corners. The beautiful thing for Tuga here is that he has height in that attack. Who do we have? We have Van Dijk. We also have Milinkovic-Savic, which we can look for in the 18-yard box, and De Ligt as well. Manually selecting to then come over, and Van Dijk will be unchallenged, green time just to top that off as well. And then as we move across and see Another goal from Tuga, just a simple 1-2. The defending questionable a little bit from Darkley, just giving him that time and space, and then that heel to ball roll. This is simple FIFA for Tuga by just saying, okay, I've got 2 players, I don't really have anyone else with me. Let's just look for a 1-2. Let's send them on a run by tapping L1, and then we can see Mbappe just looking for that 1-2 nice and easily, and as simple as that. In behind, again, defending from Darkley, a little bit questionable, but either way, it's a brilliant, brilliant chance for Tuga to heel to ball roll past the goalkeeper and get that goal. So it's a brilliant day from Tuga so far. We'll have to see if he can continue it as well, but I believe we're going to jump back into this YUVAL game.
We are just going to bring you these last couple of games here from the rounds. A few technical pauses here. YUVAL versus Abu Makkah and Montaxa up against Stingray. We've got 17 minutes left to play here in this one. YUVAL leading 1-0. Stingray was 3-0 up against the Italian Montaxa as well. The second round of action will be getting underway as soon as these 2 games have concluded.
Yep, these are the only 2 left in round 1. Looks as if it's going to be smiles again for YUVAL. We won this game 3-0 yesterday. Might not have scored 3 goals, but currently on his way to another win in this group. He won 2 games yesterday, then it all went downhill. Scored 9 goals, conceded 12. He had the leakiest defence across most of the groups, to be brutally honest. Conceded a lot of goals. Abu Makkah, was a slow start for him, but then suddenly he got moving. 8 points yesterday. He's the man that sits just behind Tex. As a pause comes in for Abu Makkah. Many have argued that he is the next Asari. Mar said, though, if it's not a World Cup victory, it's just more of a good effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at this group as well, do you think like the pressure as well from Abu Makkah to perform? When you looked at the last couple of tournaments with Twisted Minds Raptors, he had a team around him. With Saudi Arabia, he had a team around him. Now it's just him. Now he's the solo player representing this capacity crowd here in Riyadh.
Free kick for YUVAL. Aiming it's away, as we said. The headline news really is that Tuga's winning games. He's on 12 points and Tex is on 14. Keep in mind the likes of Anders Vergang, Nicholas, everyone else is competing later today. Here's YUVAL looking for a second. Milinkovic-Savic is trying to find a way to manoeuvre around the box. Does well to take more time out of the game. It's clever FIFA from YUVAL.
It's a big 3 points as well for YUVAL in this group. We talked previously about him maybe not showing the form we expected to see, given his accolades this season. 1 win is all you need just to get the ball rolling.
Last chance of the game. YUVAL probably will look to take time out of the tie. Doesn't need a second. Dispossessed again, added time to follow. Abu Makkah, no, won't have one more chance because it's a poor pass.
All the way home.
There's your added time. Long ball forward, and it should be a big 3 points on the board. That's 9 points now from 18 from YUVAL after a poor ending to yesterday. He is back on form for day 2. YUVAL will beat Abu Makkah. And it continues to shake up the group a little bit more because YUVAL will change places with Abu Makkah. Abu Makkah on 8 points, YUVAL on 9. And there's the full-time whistle there as we pass it back to the couch. All matches concluded other than Montaxa against Stingray. They are still in a technical pause.
Well, a great start then for YUVAL here on day 2, and he's one of those players from Israel who have shown their class over the last couple of seasons in FIFA, and he's one of those players that has told us just how focused he is heading into this World Cup.
We played A-Nations last week. We were the best team, I think, in groups. In knockouts we came and we lost the first round, so it was really sad. We were the favorite because we won the European playoffs as well, the qualifiers. But we played Italy, so I knew it was going to be hard. A 50-50 game, but we missed a lot of chances. And you know, in FIFA, if you miss, you concede as well. So they just scored everything and they won. For me, the World Cup is my first 1v1 World Cup, so that's the most important tournament. Like, basically, it's the biggest tournament ever. I really waited for this, so I just try to focus now on the 1v1. I finished first in Europe in rankings this year, so I think it's really a test for me in the biggest tournament. Every player is good in the World Cup, so you don't have an easy game, but yeah, probably Tex is the hardest in the group. But yeah, I don't care like if someone says I'm favorite or not favorite. I just try to win the matches, so yeah, I try to focus on myself, you know, not what others says or expect.
Well, he said Tex is one of the toughest in the group, and he lost, didn't he? 2-0 to Tex yesterday. But that is yesterday. We always talk about different days of FIFA being completely different competitions as well. Alex Nagy, I'm going to come to you on this one. He's obviously got that #1 in Europe ranking attached to his back. Some players thrive on that, some don't. YUVAL being quite new, ranked #1 in Europe. How do you think that's affecting him?
He seems unaffected in terms of the way he's approaching it, the way he's talking, but I'm just going to throw it out there. There's a massive difference between being the best online and then actually coming to an event. I mean, he's a really talented player, but if you don't have that experience, it's very rare that you just come straight into your first World Cup or LAN event that just performs excellent. So there will be losses as well, as we've been seeing in the group, but overall, when he hits his top level, he's a really, really good player.
Alex, do you think it's time for one of these players from Israel that we keep bigging up to show the form they have online and on the rankings?
Yeah, definitely. And if there's a player that's capable of doing that, it is going to be YUVAL, as we take a look at where he sat right now throughout the group stage and his performances. One question I want to throw to you, Aggie. We mentioned this over on the casting desk where we were talking about being at online qualifiers, playing in the comfort of your own home, and then coming to here at a LAN event. How does that actually different for the players? What makes it tougher? Why do some players thrive at home and maybe not so much at a LAN event? Not saying that is YUVAL, but just in general.
It's the circumstances, basically. First and foremost, there is the crowd here, which can affect you. There's a lot of sounds, a lot of different things to adjust to, and even the chair, small things, means a lot. It's routines, and they change when you're coming to a World Cup, including actually being here, knowing that this is it, I have to perform here. It's very underrated, and it's not just something you convert from being an online player to an offline player.
Routines, Mark, come on, talk to me about routines. Did you have one? Do you have one when you play matches?
Well, yeah, surprisingly I do, and mine is just not eating, being hungry, and being in a cold weather. That's me. I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
That is quite the different superstition. I want to be hungry and I'm not going to eat before a match. I didn't expect that. Go on, you have to go into that.
So he's got to be hungry on the virtual pitch and hungry in real life. They're going together, it correlates.
And then if you win, what's your treat wheel then? What do you treat yourself with?
Nothing, because the job is not done. So usually don't get celebrated too quick because it's not finished yet. So I would just wait until the end and then I'll celebrate. And I reward myself with a big happy meal of whatever.
He's got to earn the meal, is what I'm hearing.
I like that.
Earn the meal.
Definitely.
I like that. Mike, I bet you had some superstitions back in the day.
I always tried to eat light. I didn't want to have to run back and forth to the restroom. You have additional nerves when you come into these events. And to what August was saying, a big part of the massive difference is just the fact that you have all this time before you step on a stage, before you get into a matchup, and a lot of times you psych yourself out, and that's a big difference between online and offline. You have all this comfort at home. You get up, you walk to your office, or if it's in your bedroom, or if you go to an office space, you're ready to go. This is not like that. You have us talking about everything that's happening. We're critiquing you. We're saying you're doing fantastic, or you're struggling, or you're hot and cold. Like YUVAL, that's probably the one critique we've had. When he looks good, he looks fantastic, and we got a lot of compliments and superlatives. When he looks bad, he's losing big.
Well, let's talk about someone who did get a loss in that first round, and it's your man, of course, Abu Makkah as well. Only 1-0, but he did get the victory, didn't he, over that same player yesterday. Talk to me about that.
Well, definitely losing the first round, it's not a big deal. You still have 4 rounds.
I'm going to correct 2-0. Obviously, that one was stop and start as well, so 2-0.
Yeah, as I was saying, losing the first round, still it's not finished. You still have 4 chances, just get 2 wins maybe, and win or draw, and then you'll manage to qualify for the next round.
How tight as well is the Saudi FIFA community over here? Do you guys kind of play together, train together? What's it like?
Definitely. I mean, we usually make groups, we stay in contact, we train together. Just having a good connection to all of us, I think that's a good thing to do.
Do you do additional, maybe boot camping? Because we talk so much about
camps.
Yeah, well, because there's online practice, and then of course you guys have the ability here to get together before traveling to an event. Of course, if it's happening in Riyadh, even easier. But is that something that's also happening, where you get together and you go to an HQ and you actually play in person and try to prepare for what it looks like in a LAN environment?
Definitely we'll do that, and we give it some time, give it a try, and that's how we build the communication together and connection.
What do you think, Mar, has been key to Saudi having not one but 2 world champions in the form of Mr. Dunn and MS Desari?
I think giving it a lot of training, a lot of effort. Basically, I think Aggie would have a lot of thoughts on that.
Aggie, I asked Mar, he's thrown it well back over this way. What was key to 2 Saudi world champions, do you feel?
I mean, like we had Mr. Dunn, Abdulaziz Al-Shiri, who came in and played a lot of these online competitions. So he had international practice, and he came in with a different way of playing that shocked the entire FIFA world, and he went up winning the FIFAe World Cup, and then MS Desari came and conquered, you can say. So I think it's a lot about just naturally gifted, but also working hard and having the right routines and the right mental aspect going into the competitions.
Well, as it stands then as well, Abu Makkah has just dropped down to 3rd in Group A, but let's have a look then at Group B at the moment, because there's still one match in Group A that hasn't finished. That is Montaxa taking on Stingray. 3-0 as that one stands. We're just approaching the 80th minute. It's about 10 minutes left to play there. But Group B then, well, Tech's on 14 points. That surely is enough to see him not be grouped this year. Remember, he's been grouped in his last 2 World Cup campaigns. YUVAL then on 9 points after that big win against Abu Makkah, who now sits in 8th. Mark 7th. D. Fernandez 6th, and Mike J 3 points. Hasn't added to that tally from yesterday. That's how that group looks so far. Anyone expecting that to change that much heading into the last 4 rounds?
There's still plenty of FIFA to be played. I think Mark and D. Fernandez have got to try and keep up that momentum that they've got. When you're looking at Mike, D. Fernandez has got hit that pressure on from him behind as well. Mike's still within that shout as we jump back over to this match of Montaxa and Stingray, where we've had a few technical difficulties in this, back and forth between the teams, and Stingray with a convincing win, you would say, Aggie.
Yeah, just adding another one there, or was it just adding another one there, Stingray. Looking sharp as well. It's going to be an interesting matchup, because you would often say when Stingray and Tuga is playing against each other, it's offense against defense, but Tuga's been scoring a lot of goals as well throughout these 2 days here, so a really exciting matchup.
Yeah, it is. Definitely, and I'm looking forward to that one, which is kicking off, hopefully, in a short little while, Rachel.
You even say 4 goals is even more impressive when it's been such a stop-start fixture.
Well, he's also going up, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Montaxa, but he's been the most out-of-form player in that group, if you're looking at Group A, and somebody that really needs to start getting wins on the board. Comes into this 5 points, going to stay on 5 points. He's just running out of availability in order to have some additional movement.
Can he find anything? Can he do anything? What does he need to do now, if anything?
I haven't seen enough, and a lot of it's been on the defensive end, which concerns me, because I know this is a cliche, but it's because there's truth there. Defense wins championships. We've seen a lot of people not play their best FIFA, but still inch out results. And even the likes of Tuga and Nicholas are two guys that are professionals at doing that. And Montaxer's giving up goals. He's not holding on to leads. These are big problems and things that he has to fix now. He doesn't have time to work with.
Similar narrative with Lex as well, isn't it, in that group? Sitting in 5th place after 6 rounds, but was actually really good in defence yesterday. We kind of saw that. He only let in 5, but yet couldn't convert that great defensive record into any wins and picking up any points, Alex.
Yeah, and it's difficult when you're defending fairly well and you're just not scoring the goals, you're picking up draws here and there. It's about trying to change that momentum in your favour, and it's a difficult thing to do purely because of the aspect of when it comes to having good defensive record and not conceding too many goals, it can be maybe where chances where you maybe could go forward and look to score. You go, okay, I'll recycle back because you don't want to run that risk of maybe being caught on the counter-attack. So you have to explore a little bit, have a little bit more freedom in that play style, and hopefully that if the opponent does counter, you're good enough in that defence when it comes to it.
Yeah, Lex, again, we were talking a little bit about him. He's this new wave of possibly French players as well, because there's some big names from the French esports organisation who are missing. Again, the fact that he's coming in as this new player, is that shaking things up? We didn't see him in the national side, but how do you read into that, the fact that he qualified over the likes of Fuma and the Peixoto brothers, Aggie?
I think it's hard to compare. There's a lot of aspects in 2 versus 2 that's not necessarily, just because you're a good 1 versus 1 player doesn't make you the best 2v2 player. And I think in France, where I have so many good players, it's been a difficult chore for Brian, who's the coach of France, and he went with the safe choice, I guess, because he knew what he was going to get from these 3 players. It was experience, they've been there before, they played together. And I think that's some of the aspects you're looking at as a coach coming into a 2v2. But he is a part of the new French wave, which is quite similar to the older one. I'll say it's very flow-based. There's a lot of skill moves, a lot of great passing, and also a lot of possession play.
And in Brian's defense as well, it worked. France was top 4 in E-Nations. That was a great 2v2 partnership, the combination with Fuma. When you have the genetic blessings of 2 brothers that play at that level, why wouldn't you take advantage?
Were you surprised that more French players didn't qualify for this World Cup? Both of you, really?
I would even say some of the Germans. We don't have the big-name Germans in action either. And again, Tex was talking about this when he had his VO and even an interview with Spencer, but there's a lot of new players, new faces, big nations, guys that are hungry. They're not eating like Mar. They're fasting while playing FIFA, and they're getting results. We're going to see shifts. It is what it is. There's not that many spots.
Alex, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you gave me a couple of facts yesterday. I hope you can remember some. You were telling me a little bit about the age of these players. We're talking about some of the new players coming in, and you found a couple of stats online, didn't you, about kind of the age range now the players play at the World Cup?
Yeah, so last year, I was reading this from a tweet, last year the average age for every player that was playing in the World Cup was 22. This year, we're now looking at 20. It was a conversation. It was very interesting seeing Edu get involved in that. One of the coaches from Team Heretics in the past as well. Just saying about how the new wave that's coming through, they're almost fearless. And you mention it, Mike mentioned it. We say all the time about age and how relevant is it in FIFA. It's like these 16 and 17-year-olds. They live and breathe FIFA. While maybe some of the older players that have been around, done it so much, are they practicing as much? Have they got the discipline? They've got contracts to fulfill where they have to then go in on a content side of things. So it certainly does change things. And I think over the years, me and Richard were saying about it, probably next 2-3 years, it wouldn't be a surprise to see the average age at 16, 17 maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to bring you guys in on that. The fact that we think maybe the older you get, there are more distractions, let's call it, and you're not just dialed in on a game. If you're younger, you know, you're living with your parents still, that is what you live and breathe.
I mean, I wouldn't agree much on that. I mean, last year I played with my teammate with Anka Abushog. He was almost, I would say, 30 years old. And he still managed to qualify to the World Cup, so nothing is impossible. Of course, most of the players are young, 17, 18, they're new. But I think we have some old players that doing really good with good experience that they have.
Shout out to Stokes
as well.
Can we just shout out to Stokes?
Yeah.
29 years young. What's up, Stokes? More than a decade in the game.
Maybe there are less
Turning
distractions
30
then in
soon.
Saudi and the UK. Who knows? Anyway, right, let's just clear up then, shall we, the round 6 fixtures from Group A. We saw Group B a short while ago. Here we go. So Stingray finished. That was what we were waiting for. So Tuga then on 12 points. 4 wins on the bounce after losing his first 2 fixtures. That's something special there we're seeing. Stingray then 11, Burke Lion 9, Darkly 6. We were just chatting about Lex and Montaxa. this new wave possibly of players, 6 and 5 between them. They're still in it. We're not kind of writing them out yet, but they haven't got out of those 5th and 6th positions yet.
The only takeaways I really have in these two groups at the moment, Tuga, Stingray, I think they've done enough. Worst case scenario, get themselves into 4th. Tex, same situation, but almost everywhere else, there's still room for a lot of movement and in some cases, maybe a disaster. You're sitting in a position now where you're in 3rd or 4th place, and that could unfortunately trend down for you, but it also has optimism on the other end. If you're sitting in 5th or 6th, there's still enough points available, and we've had some draws, we've had some results. They didn't knock you out. They didn't eliminate you. You still have a lot of hopes, dreams, ambitions. The storyline is still there. There's a narrative for you.
Mara, I'm going to put you on the spot here. We always go between us lot. We go, how many points do you need to get through? And we can't really agree on a number here. How many points did you get to get through last year, and what do you think the point tally will need to be this year?
I mean, last year was just, I don't know, just roller coaster. Like the first day we went off really good, like 4 wins, a draw and a lose. We were on top of the group. And the second day we started off really bad. So we had to qualify in the last round, and we thought that we needed a win to qualify, but we scored the last minute and we didn't celebrate because we thought that the draw took us out.
I remember it was drama in Copenhagen for you guys.
It was insane. We never thought that we had like a delay celebration qualify. I think that even made it more nice to qualify as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, we talk about that all the time, don't we? Day 2 is a completely different day here at the World Cup. Right, well, we've had some technical difficulties. Like I've already said to you, we're trying our best behind the scenes to fix these. So for the time being, we're going to have a 30-minute break, and then we'll be back, we hope, with round 7 of FIFA from A and B groups. A lot of FIFA still to be played, but we're going to go off air for 30 minutes. So we'll see you guys at home in a short while. Goodbye for now.
won't set me back again. Oh, my sleeper awake. I won't let the future escape. Oh, my sleeper awake. I won't let the future escape. Heads down, they will watch us shake the ground. Oh, it's like a